So let me guess, you are dreaming of starting your study abroad journey in US for next fall semester, but there is a small problem. You have no idea what the exact process is and where do you even start. Trust me, I was in the same boat a few years back and I exactly know how you feel. Now let me start by saying this. Getting admitted into a US university is a marathon and not a sprint. And this marathon starts now as you watch this video. Because I guarantee you by the end of this video, you will know what you need to do and more importantly, when you need to do it to ensure that you are in United States next fall semester starting your masters. Now in this one video, I plan to cover everything around the admission process and also give you a month by month game plan to make this entire process less complicated and easier for you. Also, as I walk you through the timeline, I'll highlight other videos that will be very helpful to you at that stage. Now, like for example, if you're worried about the US immigration, you know that mini visa kind of thing that happens with the immigration officer when you land in US. Trust me, every student, no matter new or old, has their hearts in their mouth when they are going through this. Because one wrong answer and you would be back home. Nevertheless, I have made an entire video talking about this and giving you tips on how to get through this smoothly and without any issue. You could find that video in the description and in the iCard. So you see, more such videos would be highlighted during the timeline, so make sure to watch the video until the end. Buckle up, this is the start of the amazing journey that you are about to embark on and I am very excited for you. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video in the series Life in US. Now I have been in US for over 7 years and just like many of you watching, I did not have the luxury of having someone in US to make things easier for me. Yup, first generation kiddo here. And this is why I work so hard to bring you this series to make your life easier when you are abroad with no help in sight. Now the playlist is ever growing and most of the topics have been suggested by viewers like you in the comments. So if you have any questions related, please feel free to ask and I'll try to make a video on it. The link to the entire playlist would be in description and also in iCard. Definitely check it out, it will be worth your time. Oh, and also consider subscribing to the channel if you find this video helpful. This just encourages me to make more videos like this. Okay, let's draw a timeline. Today we are here in August and 1 year later, that is next August, we want to be here. That is in US starting our masters. Along the way, there would be many checkpoints and that's what we'll be covering here. There would be timestamps to all these checkpoints in the timeline, so feel free to jump ahead. Also another cool trick, if you are planning to join for spring admit, this timeline still works for you. Just change the dates from August to January and follow the timeline as it is. Now let's talk about the first checkpoint. That is going to be program research and test prep. Now this would preferably run from August to October. Now in this stage, we will try to identify what course do we want to actually go to masters for. Apparently US has a master's program for every discipline that you can think of. Like I had a friend who was doing their masters in music. I have never heard anyone do masters in music in India. So yeah, make sure to identify what course do you want to go in for. Now you don't have to finalize the universities now, we will do that at a later stage. But the reason that I tell you to identify the course is because it will help you identify the admission requirements around it. So at this stage, pick your field. Like if you want to go in tech, cool. Select your specialization. Would it be data engineering? Would it be cybersecurity? Or would it be anything else? Also, the second part of this stage is preparing for the required tests. That would be GRE, TOEFL, GMAT, IELTS, etc. Now, this is a burning question that I have seen on a lot of forums, comments, and everywhere. Isn't GRE optional? Why should I even give it? Now that's true. Most of the universities have gone GRE optional or have waived it off completely. And that trend even continues in 2025 and would likely go on for 2026 as well. However, optional is the key word here. And frankly, it can be a trap. So my advice would be, unless your university explicitly mentions that GRE not considered, you should go ahead and give this exam. Now let me explain. For international students, a strong GRE score could really work in your favor. It really boosts up your admission profile and also helps the admission committee make better decisions in case they are not familiar with your university's grading system. Also, if you have a weaker GPA or you don't have the work experience, a strong GRE score could help you offset that. And literally, this is the most amazing thing about US schools. They look at your whole profile before making a decision and not just the academic part of it. I know so many students who had a low undergrad GPA, but they got into really good schools purely on basis of a good GRE score. So please consider giving GRE. Ideally, 4 to 6 months of time is enough for preparation of these, but if you're really confident about your skills in English, logical reasoning, aptitude, you could ace this exam in less than 3 months. Just make sure you have the scores from these exams in your hand by October end or max November mid, because you don't want to miss out on the good schools who have early deadlines. And that's it for the first stage. Now for the second stage is preparing your SOPs and LOR. Now SOP and LOR are going to be very important part of your application. LOR stands for letter of recommendation while SOP stands for statement of purpose. Let me break it down for you. Letter of recommendation is something that you need to get from your previous undergrad professors or your previous managers if you are working professional. And getting these can take a lot of time. This letter needs to be on the official letterhead of whichever place that you're getting them from, and it basically vouches for your skills and what value you bring to the table. Now some universities need 2, but maximum is 3, so it is always a good rule of thumb to have 3 LORs ready. Now like I said earlier, if you're a fresher, you need to reach out to your professors and get LORs from them. And if you're someone with around 2 years of work experience, having 1 LOR from your previous manager will be very good. Anything more than 2 years of work experience, you can probably get all LORs from your previous managers. Now let's talk about SOP, statement of purpose. A major mistake that majority of the students make is they think of SOP as an elaborate resume. It is not. SOP is the part of the application using which you can really market yourself to the school. Remember how I said US universities look into your entire profile and not just academic grit? Well, this is how they get to know you. In your SOP, talk about things that are not visible in your application directly. Talk about things like why you want to get into this field, what do you plan on doing when you're in this field, and what your future goals are. Also in your SOP, make sure to mention if you have done any cool projects, if you have founded startup, worked for one, or you have done anything that would set you apart from other students. Using these, you can talk about what value you would actually bring to the program and to the university as a whole. Always remember, a good SOP can be the difference maker between you getting into your dream university and you not getting into it. Don't take your SOP lightly and invest as much time as you need to perfect it. Okay, so before we move on to the third checkpoint, if this timeline so far is helping you feel you are in more control, do me a big favor and smash the like button to this video. Also, while you're there, consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell icon for more such videos. Now the third point is probably what baffles most of the new students. How do I even shortlist universities? By the time you really need to shortlist the universities that you're going to be applying for, it is already October/November. And hopefully by this time you have your scores ready from exams like GRE, IELTS, TOEFL, or whichever exam that you have taken. Also on the other hand, you have your LORs, SOP and official transcripts ready. And finally you have a good idea about the field you want to pursue your masters in. Because now comes the expensive part. Application for each university costs between $50 to $150, and I've seen students applying to so many universities without even thinking and spending thousands and thousands of rupees. Students just apply to universities because they heard it from one of their friends or some consultancy told them you should apply for it. And a less known fact is, if a consultancy is really pushing you to apply for a university, 99% of the time that university has a tie-up with this consultancy. And if you ultimately join that program, this consultancy gets a huge commission from the university. Many small or mediocre universities do this for their mediocre programs. Don't fall into this trap. Do your own research. But where do I even start for this research? Doesn't USA have like 3,000 plus universities? True. USA has like 3,000 plus universities and so many programs. Don't worry. I have got a perfect tool which is free to use, which will help you shortlist your universities. Now a few days back, I was reached out to by Gyandan, who are experts in study abroad education loan, and they reached out to me with a solution to this university shortlisting problem. They have built a completely free to use tool that tells you what is the best universities you can try for based on your profile. And you don't need to take any services or pay them anything to use this tool. And this tool is pretty accurate. I did try it for myself based on what my profile was back then, and it suggested me the university which I ultimately end up going to. So how this tool works is you need to input your details like your GPA from your undergrad, your GRE score, your TOEFL score, your work experience if you have any, and the field that you want to go for masters in. Now once you have given this information, their system analyzes it and generates a list of universities that you could target. Not only that, they break down the list in 3 major categories: safe universities, moderate universities, and ambitious universities. To give you an idea of what this is, safe category is where you are almost certain of getting an admit. Moderate category would be admission is a little bit competitive, but your profile has a very good chance of making it. And the ambitious category is where you are actually shooting for the stars. Ideally, the chances of getting into this university is a bit low, but maybe you have something really strong that stands out in your profile. Remember how I said a good SOP, a strong GRE score, or an extravagant project or a startup that you founded? This is something that stands out into your profile, and this could help you get into that university. So again, make sure you give your GRE and have a strong SOP in hand. Now, a good rule of thumb is apply to 2 safe universities, 3 to 4 moderate universities, and 2 ambitious university. Now, in my opinion, this is a really good place to start your research. In fact, you can do this way before October as well. You could do it at the stage 1 as well, because this tool lets you add an estimate score and gives you an idea about what universities you can target. And using this knowledge, you can understand how much you need to score on those tests. But now that you have a rough list of universities thanks to this Admit Predictor tool, it's time to do your own research. Reach out to students who recently graduated from these universities and also from this program. See online what people are talking about this program and how good or bad it is. I really wish I had this tool when I was researching for my universities. It would have made my life so much easier. Link to this tool would be in the description. Definitely check it out and let me know what universities are you getting as recommendation. And if you have any more questions on how to make your profile even stronger for those universities, feel free to ask question in the comments and I'll be happy to respond, or someone else would respond who is already in that university. You will never get answers to your questions unless you ask them. Let's move on to the 4th checkpoint in the timeline, applications. Now this section goes from November to whatever the deadline of that university is. This is the stage where we use everything that we have collected so far. You have your documentation ready, you have your test scores ready, you have a list of universities and programs that you want to apply to, and you also have the money ready that you would be using to send these applications. But this is where things can get really messy during your journey, because keeping track of every application is so confusing and so time consuming. Every university has a different requirement and also even different deadline. Sometimes 2 different programs in the same university will have different deadlines. Some of these universities have rolling admissions, some of them don't. Also, in an attempt to manage all this, students make another big mistake. They are not customizing their SOP as per the university requirement. Don't be that student. Don't let this entire process get messy and costing you your admission. To help you with this, I have attached a couple of free resources in the description. To help you with this, I have attached a couple of free to use resources that I have created specifically for this video. There are 2 application checklists, one for Google Sheets and one for Notion. Use whichever you feel comfortable. So what I did to stay on top of all of these applications was simply write it down in a journal what each university needed, when was their deadline, did I make a custom SOP, and anything that I would need to do for that application. I would also write down what the login and password or reference number for that application was, because many a times you need it. And when you are applying to multiple universities over a course of period, you tend to forget things. So yeah, that's what I did. You could try the same. Always make sure you're on top of these deadlines, because some universities can have deadlines as soon as mid-December. Some can have all the way until May. And remember, a good planning never hurts. With that, let's move on to the 5th checkpoint in the list, the funding. Now this process usually goes from February until April or May. So at the end of previous stage, all your applications have been sent to your universities that you wanted to apply for, and now comes the boring part, the waiting part. But we are going to use this time to arrange for our finances to fund our education. Because once you receive the admit, there is not a whole lot of time and there are so many things that you need to do. Better to take care of this funding part right now. Usually admission decisions from universities start coming around March, and once you have gotten the admit, you need to show the proof of funds for the university to release the I-20. Now I-20 is going to be a very important document throughout your entire F1 visa journey. But for now, you need this I-20 to actually be able to book your visa appointment. So for funding, if you are self-funding, make sure your funds are in liquid assets or you have a letter from bank that you can submit to the university. Alternatively, if you're going for an education loan, which is common amongst most of the students, I was one of them, make sure your education loan is pre-approved, and also make sure that your university accepts this education loan document. Now, I specifically stress on this point because there are a few universities which don't accept the education loan document. So in that case, you might have to take some extra steps to get that I-20. Usually to get the I-20, you need to show proof of funds for 1 year of study. And again, this amount differs from program to university to university. There is no fixed amount. Now I know all of this sounds too scary and too stressful, but don't worry. I recently made a video on education loan where I talk about all of these things specifically. In that video, I've talked about another major issue that students face down the line is student debt trap. Link to that video would be in description and also in iCard. Definitely check it out after this. That video will teach you how to be financially smart when you're abroad. Okay, so at this point in the process, we already know which university we are going for, which program we are going to do our masters in, and how we are going to fund that education. Let's talk about the next checkpoint in the timeline, getting your visa and finding a house where you will stay. This step usually goes from April until July. Now I'll be honest, during my journey, even after getting admission from my dream university for an excellent program, I was super stressed. Because getting admit is one thing, getting visa is completely different. You may have seen online so many cases where students from excellent universities going for excellent programs get their visa rejected. The visa officer doesn't give you visa based on which university you are going or based on how you're funding the program. Also, if you don't know, US visa is one of the hardest visa to get in this world and they are making it tougher day by day. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I just want you to understand the gravity of the situation before you're jumping in. Now, I can make an entire separate video talking about US visa and how you can actually crack it. Let me know if you want to see that in the comments below. But as for the documents needed for this US visa interview, you need your I-20, you need a DS-160, you need your SEVIS fee receipt, you need a couple of US passport style photos and a valid passport. There might be a few more documents depending on when you are watching this video, but these are going to be the core parts of your visa application. So essentially what we do during this time frame is we start looking out for the visa appointment and book it. Oh, you might think this sounds easy. I just need to go on the US website and book a visa slot. No, this is so far from true. Getting a visa appointment date is a challenge in its own. So always be on top of it. But once you have got that US visa date, it's start to looking for houses in US. Now you don't want to wait until the very end before you finalize your housing, because all the good housing near university gets booked months before even the semester starts. And if you're thinking I'll wait until I get my visa, until I book my flight tickets and then I'll book my house, you're gonna have a really tough time. I have made an elaborate video on how you can find accommodations in US, what are the things that you need to look out for when you are finalizing a housing, and also in that video I have included an actual apartment tour of a place where I was personally staying. So that would give you an actual idea of how US apartments are, and using that you can compare the apartment that you are signing up for. Link to that video would be in description and also in iCard. We are almost at the end of the timeline. The last checkpoint over here would be packing and your final checklist before you fly. This stage would start in July and until whenever you are flying out. Okay, so if you are at this stage, everything is set. All you are left to do is pack your bags, book your flight and prepare for your journey abroad. Now packing is fun. And now I say fun because it is exciting as well as so hectic. You want to carry everything, but there is such limited space. You need to be really mindful about what you're packing, what are absolute essentials and what are something that are easily replaceable once you're in US. Now I won't dive much over here where I tell you what you should pack or not, because I have made two separate videos for that. In first video, I tell you what you should absolutely take with you to US, and in the second video, I tell you what are the things which you should avoid taking to US. Link to both those videos will be in description, so definitely check them out before you pack your bags. Also, booking a best possible flight at a cheaper rate is not as easy as it sounds. Luckily for you, I have another guide ready for that, where I have talked about how you can absolutely get the best possible international flight at the best possible rate. And finally, remember how I said you need to prepare for your journey abroad. To help you with that, I have made another guide where I talk about 5 essential apps which you absolutely need to have on your phone before you fly out from India. Now these apps are something which you would be using very frequently during your initial time in US and also once you have settled down there. The reason I made both of those videos was I got so many DMs from students asking queries for these two topics, and I was like, why not make 2 videos for it? So definitely check them out. Link to those videos would be in description and in iCard as well. Oh, also before I let you go for this video, remember, you can only enter 30 days prior to your course start date in US. So let's say your course was starting on August 26th. So the earliest you can enter is 30 days before August 26th. I would recommend you flying to US 15 to 20 days prior to your course start date, because it will help you settle down and get things running. Things like opening up your bank account, getting a SIM card and things like that. Because once the semester starts, it gets real busy real quick. So there you have it, an entire timeline with game plan for your US Masters application. I know this has been a very long video and it seems like a lot of information to process, but trust me, if you stick to this timeline, you will be in US starting your Masters program in next fall. And I really hope now at this point in the video, you are confident and feel like you can take on this journey head on. Just break it into small steps like I did for you. And before I sign off, I would just like to remind you that getting admitted into a US university is a marathon and not a sprint. Start your process early, research like a detective, build your story and not just a list of stats, SOP, and get your financial plan sorted as soon as possible. I really hope you get into the university that you dream of for a program that you really want to study. You have got a dream, you have got the talent, and now you know how to get there. Go make it happen. I am standing with you in your corner. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care.